Good day, everyone. Welcome to exercise 4F, working with brackets. Now, in this lesson, you learn about the distributive law and how to use that as you expand algebraic expressions. Right, so you will be multiplying algebraic terms on the outside of the brackets with those on the inside of the brackets. That's just basically to break things down. We'll do a couple of questions together and you'll get what I mean in a bit. Now, on your show your understanding section here, when calculating the value of the expression 3 times 6 plus 2, using the order of operation rules, which operation would you perform first and why? So this is all very familiar to us in terms of our order of operations. Some of you might know that as BODMAS. Okay, some of you might know that as BIDMAS. Right? Other than that, in terms of year and above, you'll be using BIDMAS, and that is where your I is your indices. Right, so if we look at BIDMAS over here, we have 3 times. So this is like a multiplication sort of sign here, but we do have brackets as well, and in the brackets we have addition. So looking at BIDMAS, it starts with the letter B. So therefore, we will first perform the operation of adding 6 and 2 within the brackets itself. So we can state, right, because the question is asking which operation would you perform first. Okay, so that's 6 plus 2. And that's because the operation inside brackets must be performed first. Okay, question 2. Complete the final operation to the problem in question 1 to determine the answer. So question 1, we have 3 times 6 plus 2. Now we'll first carry out 6 plus 2, and that's 3 times 8. And that will give us 24. So that's our answer for that as we determine our answer. Number 3, compare your answer from question 2 with the answer to 3 times 6 plus 3 times 2. What do you notice about the two answers? So writing out the expression 3 times 6 plus 3 times 2. Okay, so BIDMAS will tell you brackets first, there is no brackets, followed by indices, no indices, followed by division, no division, and finally we have multiplication. So we have two multiplication signs, but between multiplication and division, we are always doing the one that's on the left first. Okay, so 3 times 6, that gives you 18, right, plus, okay, and we do have 3 times 2 at the back here. All right, so another multiplication sign once more. We'll begin to simplify this on the next step. So 18 plus 6. All right, and then after that, finally, 18 plus 6 giving you 24. Right, so there you have it in terms of your answers, 24 and 24 for questions 2 and 3. So both methods, I would say, result in the same answer of 24, right? So that is your explanation as you answer. What do you notice for that? Okay, and for question 4, right, so if we were to turn to next page. Okay, so the method that was displayed in question 3 can be applied to algebraic expressions too. So this is where distributive law comes into place. So they gave you an exemplar expression here. So 2x times 3y plus 8. To complete the following, you may wish to use different color pencils for the different terms. All right, so basically distributive law just tells you that every term that you have on the inside of the brackets, they are multiplied by the term that's on the outside, right? So first taking 2x times 3y, right? So you have 2x here times 3y. Right, and then after that, there's another term still. So 2x times positive 8 here. So you take the sign that's in front of the number there. So that is 8, right? Because 2x, that's here, 2x times 8. Right, so this is what we mean by distributive law. It's sort of like distributing itself across the different terms of the brackets. Right, and then after that, finally, you will begin to simplify them. So your multiplication signs that you can simplify. So the first one is 2x times 3y. Settle your numbers first, your coefficients first. So 2 times 3 will give you 6. right? And then followed by your letters, so x and y, right? Plus 2x times 8. So therefore, 2 times 8 giving you 16 and x. Right, that'll be your answer for that. So this is a basic example on how to carry out your distributive law. Finally, question 5. The method of expanding brackets in question 4 is known as distributive law. Briefly explain how this is performed. Just like what we were explaining earlier, you can see that each and every term that's on the inside of the brackets, they are being multiplied by the term that's on the outside. Right, so just basically stating that will do for this question. All right, now let's try a couple of questions together in terms of carrying out our distributive law. So speeding past the questions, going to question 2a. Right, use the distributive law to write these expressions in expanded form without brackets and simplify. So they have basically specifically told you distributive law needs to be shown, right? And then writing them in expanded form without the brackets before simplifying that. So this is your first step, and then that's your second step. So always good to underline what you are, what's required of you in terms of your question. So distributive law will tell us that number on the outside will multiply each term on the inside. So we have, firstly, 5 times x. Right, then after that, plus sign in the middle, 5 times 1. So 5 times 1 on the right side. Okay, and then once you're done with phrasing this in your expanded form, you begin to simplify that. So ensuring that you have your numbers up the front. So we have 5 times x being 5x plus 5, right? So that's it for our first question, and that will be your answer for that, 5x plus 5. Right, question 3b. It says expand and simplify each expression. So once again, you're using a distributive law for that. So 3b, we have 12p times 6q minus 4r, right? So with that, your terms on the outside multiplying that first term on the inside of the brackets, that will be 12p times 6q as you expand that on the first time round. Okay, plus sign in the middle, followed by your second step of 12p times minus 4r, right? I'll say so with your negative signs, or with if you do notice that there is a minus in front of your algebraic terms, this is just basically taken as negative in that sense. So that will be 12p times, right? And if you do have a negative, please always put that in the brackets, right? Negative 4r. Okay, just so that you know when you multiply that your signs will change. All right, on the next step, you'll simplify that. So you have 12p times 6q, settling the numbers first, right? So we have 12 times 6, right? That will give you 72. Okay, and then after that, you have p times q. So just placing your letters together with your numbers. Okay, and then after that, you have plus, right? And then you have 12p times negative 4r. Okay, we have a positive 12 times a negative 4. So this will result in a negative. And then after that, that will be negative 48. Okay, and then after that, settling your letters. So you have P and R. All right, so simplifying on the last stage, you do know that you can simplify your signs here. And that will be a minus in the middle. So 72 PQ minus 48 PR. Right, we can't simplify it further because our terms are not like at all. One is PQ, the other is PR. Right, okay, so question 3b. Now we have a negative sign, negative number or algebraic terms on the outside of the brackets, but it's the same practice that what we are doing in terms of distributive law. Right, so with that, expanding that, we have negative 6u, and please put that in brackets, times, right, your first term on the inside, which is 9w, right, and then after that in the middle, your plus sign, followed by negative 6u times minus 3u over there. So same thing in your brackets, negative 6u times negative 3u. Okay, so once that has been expanded, next step is to simplify. Right, so simplifying your numbers, you have negative 6 times 9. So if a negative times a positive, you know that it will be a negative. Right, 6 times 9 will give you 54. And then your letters, you have U and W. So U comes first before W. Plus sign, and then now looking at, we have negative 6 times negative 3. So negative times negative will give you a positive, so therefore 18. And then we have U times U, so that will make a U square. All right, so this will be your answer for part D. Okay, last but not least, last question here. We have negative 2 times 4a plus 3d plus 5f. So always the same thing. You are actually multiplying any terms on the outside or your terms on the outside with each and every term on the inside of the bracket. So let's go first with negative 2 times 4a plus negative 2 times 3a. Oh, sorry, 3d. Okay, and then plus negative 2 times 5f. All right, simplifying that on the next step. So we have negative 2 times a positive 4 here, which will give you a negative 8. Right, negative 8a plus we have negative 2 times 3d. So this will give us a negative 6d. All right, and then after that followed by plus, we have negative 2 times 5f. So negative times positive will give us a negative 10f. Right, and then after that simplifying your signs in between. So we have negative 8a minus 6d minus 10f. All right, hopefully this has given you a good enough example for you to get started with. So carry on with the rest of your questions in this exercise, please.